Welcome back to the grim darkness of the 41st Millennium. I am Inquisitor Caveat Ventus, keeper of the Inquisition's Black Library, and this is my report on the Valentyne Heresy, an actual play podcast set in the Genesys adaptation of Warhammer 40,000's Dark Heresy RPG. This report features Game Master Tom McGee, Ryan LaPlante as Inquisitor Lucius Valentyne, Laura Elizabeth as Marni Schwartzenberger, and Tyler Hewitt as Attikus Vis. My report shows that the Inquisitorial band are falling to their death in a gas-filled elevator. Attikus tried to hold the door, Marni was shoved onto a grenade, and Valentyne lost his arm shooting at Glasgow Vicodin. Can our heroes survive now that Glasgow Vicodin is dead? Find out in this episode of the Valentyne Heresy.
From a burned, redacted memorandum. We will need his money, I'm afraid, for the Confederacy to have any chance of success. Now, granted, we can all agree that men of the caliber of Glasgow Vicodin are not exactly who we thought we would be putting atop the Empire, but it seems he has a simple enough request that will not interfere with any of our grander plans for the Imperium. He merely wants to drink from the heretical emperor's skull. I say we let him. Otherwise, well, let's just say the contingency plan is somewhat more complicated. And if I can avoid the involvement of him, I would prefer it. You're falling. Free falling, if you will, in an elevator, having encountered the fail-safes and strategic brilliance of a desperate rogue trader trapped in his office with a bunch of shit. Valentyne, your arm has been sheared off just below the elbow. However, your inquisitorial implants and conditioning have prevented you from passing out. Marni, you attempted to lob a grenade. You jumped on a grenade. Or rather, you were trying to pick up a grenade, were shoved onto the grenade, and then managed to throw it ineffectively off a wall.
Correct.
And Attikus, you've activated your rebreather, and as a result, your lungs are full of actual air, not like toxic hell air. But you're also able to breathe the poison. You've just learned from the recording that Eugene made that Glasgow Vicodin has been shot. You're uncertain whether or not he has survived, but Valentyne, you nevertheless feel a small modicum of success from this. One of the conspirators has been dispatched, which is admittedly further towards your goal than you were this morning, and certainly more than you hoped for when your previous companions died in a fireball. So, minor gains. Unfortunately, you are all still falling, and much as you trust the Emperor in his divine wisdom and that of the Golden Throne to protect you, you are not certain how the fuck you're going to get out of this one. So, 3 of you are falling. The elevator is in free fall. What do you do?
Valentyne will start belting off his arm, and then he'll just say, Marni, if you could make a hole in the floor and shove the grenade through it. And Attikus, if you could make a hole in the roof in that corner, I'm going to need you to lift me out of here. He's just focused on fucking belting in his severed arm. He can't really do much in his current state.
That's fair. I will also say the gas is starting to get to you. You're speaking through it, but it's definitely a slightly slurrier thing. This is a potent toxin. Attikus, you are the most aware of the 3 in the falling elevator. What's running through your head? What's your plan?
I've been given an order, and I will execute it to the best of my ability. So first and foremost, punching a hole in the roof.
Punch that roof. Okay, so we'll call this. I think this will not come as a tremendous surprise. Melee. You're melee heavy with the arm, right?
Light.
So weird.
Melee heavy's only 2-handed weapons for some reason.
Well, I mean, technically, this is only one hand. All right, so melee light and brawn, if you would, sir. Your goal is to punch a hole and then rip it open wide enough to shove Valentyne through. Is that correct?
Yeah. Followed by Marni, followed by me.
Okay. Given that this is a punch and tear rather than just like punch a little hole, I'm going to give you difficulty of 4. No, 3. You're punching it with a giant metal arm. So yeah, base difficulty of 3. No disadvantage from the environmental effects because you're using your magic lungs.
Does my breach ability confer any kind of advantages here? It's like rules is written, you ignore vehicle armor when attacking with breach. Not completely, but for each point of breach, and I believe I have breach 2.
Breach 2. So let's give you 2 additional boost, please, since this doesn't have vehicle armor per se. But absolutely, I think that's a transferable skill.
Okay. I'm ready to roll. Do we want to discuss how many story points we have?
Yeah, we sure do. I don't
it's a new session, fellow listeners.
Yes, it is a brand new session. You guys are in dire straits. We'll say 3 and 1 in your favor.
Aw.
1 for each of you.
I'm pretty confident in my role here, which will probably be my last words alive. But I think I'm going to save the story points for those in our party that may need it more.
Sure.
For tighter spread. So I'm ready to roll.
All right.
Okay.
Kick it.
4 successes.
All right, man. Describe how you do this.
I think it's excuse me. I think it's actually a series of punches, each one making a new hole. But it's just like you're just making the same hole kind of like larger. You know what I mean? Like, and now like one perfect hole, and now beside it a second one, so it's like an oblong kind of hole. And now we're going to even it out so we can get the shoulders through, kind of thing, on either side. So now it's much, much larger, and it's kind of like a big circular plus sign kind of thing, where you're just like punching quadrants of the ceiling out. So I think he's just like pumping his fist up and down in the elevator until he's satisfied with the breach, and he's going to grab Valentyne by the waist and just kind of try to hoist him up.
I think Valentyne's going to look at you and go, I only have one arm. I'm afraid you're going to have to lead the way and lift me, friend.
Yeah, and he'll say, right away, sir, just evacuating everyone. And so he will wrap... how can I do? I'm trying to visualize how this would work.
Then me, then Marni. He says, breathing in the gas.
Can I just boost him up on top of the elevator so that he's like?
Unfortunately, given how small you are, you could get him up on your shoulders, but he can't. His problem is he can't hoist himself up and out. So you can't. You can get him like up and close, and if he wasn't injured, he would absolutely be able to do it. But unfortunately, with his lack of arm and loss of blood, you kind of like hoist him up by the waist, and he just like, as he's giving you orders, is fully like unhappy cat flopped over your arm.
Wesley from The Princess Bride, kind of.
100%. Yeah, head lolling.
Okay, then. So yeah, it sounds like I do have to get up there first. So yeah, I'll try and kind of amble up to the roof of the elevator during this free fall, and I'm gonna reach down to try and I'm gonna grab whatever I can. I'll grab like his collar and just like hoist him up.
He'll grab your arm frantically while you're lifting him by his coat.
Marni, are you gonna help, or are you trying to make a hole in the floor?
Well, the thing is, I would be standing because I would use my combat shotgun to make the hole in the floor, because that's like the quickest way.
Sure.
So I'm just like doing that thing where I'm like standing with like hunched over, like use my back while like holding my gun aiming at the floor. Yeah.
It's a pose that like people put on like heroic cards in board games and shit, but that makes no sense, and the recoil of which would absolutely kill a person. But we know Marni isn't a person. Marni is an idea. Exactly. So Marni, you take a wide stance, aim your gun down, go ahead and roll. We'll say ranged light, I believe this would be.
It's ranged heavy.
Sure, great. I mean, you
the
guys
combat
have the
shotgun
stats.
is
You tell me
heavy.
what's
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
So we'll do that. This is a difficulty of 2 only to take into account, not that you would miss, but just to take into account the thickness of like an elevator floor.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give you 1 setback from the gas.
Okay.
Cool. Well, you're dealing with that. Tyler, I need an athletics and brawn from you, please, to pull Valentyne up. I assume you're doing this with your robo-arm, or is your robo-arm securing yourself to the top of the elevator?
Yeah, I think I would reach in with my fleshy arm.
Great.
To
Perfect.
pull him up.
Cool.
What's the difficulty on that, sir?
Difficulty is 2.
Okay.
Can you give you a setback for his general bleh?
Mm-hmm.
Ryan, I don't think you can roll to help on this, honestly. I think trying to like stay up with the tourniquet and everything else, like
Yeah, I think this
doing your
is
best.
just don't fuck it up at best. So yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So Tyler, that's it from my end.
Okay.
And keep in mind, both Laura and Tyler, you both have 3 available story points.
Mm-hmm.
4 successes, 3 advantages, 1 triumph. I pull
Holy
him up.
shit,
You
man.
pull him into Glasgow's office. Like you just pull and toss.
It's a weird cut in like the shot, but I reach in and he's got 1 arm and I pull him out and he's got 2. It's a weird continuity thing.
Look, man,
Eagle-eyed viewers can catch it.
I've been playing Resident Evil 8. You pour that healing juice on stuff. Anything reattaches to anything. You're good. You're good. You're great. The arm is back.
Is that what triumph means? We just get a retcon of our choice?
Yeah, you reach in to pull up Valentyne and Lyric comes up.
Yeah.
All right. So
she'd be useless here, let's be honest.
corpse is off an R. Valentyne, you're lifted easily up and away. You get like a lung full of breath. Eugene just kind of hovers along beside you, and then as it begins to with everything that's happening, just kind of like flies into your bag rather than bouncing off against the walls. The 2 of you are atop the plummeting elevator.
Attikus, do you have any climbing gear?
We'll find out after Marni opens fire. Marni.
I'd like to use a story point.
Sure.
Because I think this is one of those situations where like Marni is like, she's given an order, she executes. This is like what she does. And I think it's been like, she spent so much time having to like give herself her own orders that it's just like, it feels so right and so natural to like fall back into that place where she's just like, oh yes, know this, locks and shoots.
Well, also, like, you guys just spent a whole bunch of time infiltrating a thing and doing a bunch of shit and just being told to like blast a hole in some metal. Like, yeah, okay, that's a Tuesday for me. That's wonderful.
Yeah. So Marni doing what Marni does best, gets 2 successes and 4 advantages.
All right. So you blast a hole through the floor. We'll say you spend your advantage to boot the grenade.
Cool.
Out. Yes, there's still obviously vapor in the elevator, but the good news is with the grenade out of the small chamber, it's not going to be like blowing up through the hole into Valentyne's face. Oh, I escaped. Oh God, it's still here. So yeah, you've bought everyone some time. Attikus, you know that Marni's still down there, but Valentyne has just asked you about climbing gear. What do you do?
I feel like I'm doing 2 things at once. I'm answering him, but also reaching around into the smoke to find Marni.
Sure.
And the answer is no, sir, no climbing gear.
All right, you've got about 10 seconds to get Marni out before I'm going to have to give you some very unfortunate orders.
Yes, sir.
Marni, would you reach for that arm, or would you already be trying to like chin up your way out?
I would, if I see the arm, I'll take it.
Would you be looking for the arm though?
I mean, I would have to look up.
Sure.
It would be looking up. Like,
All right, I'll take it.
Yeah.
All right, so Tyler, athletics, brawn. This one's a difficulty 3. Marni is not small. Bolters are heavy. Marni, what is your athletics, please? How many ranks do you have?
I have 1.
1. So you get a boost dice from Marni for her athletics because she'll be like helping as best she can.
Okay.
Story points sit at 2 and 2.
Okay. Yeah, I'll roll as is. 1 success, 4 advantages.
That is a goodly amount. All right, so you get Marni about halfway up. Marni gets kind of wedged and begins to kind of like struggle, but is capable of kind of trying to get the rest of the way out. The 3 of you now are up top. Marni, you're still working your way out, so you can't immediately help.
Yep.
But I think with that much advantage, Tyler, I can let you just kind of sneak up and over.
Right, thank you.
Cool. So it's plummeting. The good news is Vicodin's office was mighty high up in this place, but you don't have long.
Tom, are there exposed brake mechanisms? Like, on some elevators they're at the top and at the bottom, or is this just like flat top with the
Oh, it's got a bunch of shit up here. No. It's got brake mechanisms. It's got sort of like, I think the best way to imagine this thing isn't there's the sort of standard pulley system up top and on the side.
Okay,
there are
so
like emergency locks on the sides. Like you're not on a flat platform with nothing. There are ways you could try and manipulate this.
Does it look like Attikus could crimp the brakes shut around the lines with squishy hands? Like, is there something that I could see that's like pressed together with a power fist might be able to do it? Which is like a Valentyne question.
I think I would need to check. Let's say I take perception, or tech use, but I feel like you're a perception guy. Just because, unfortunately, without Ordos Elevator Reparium with you, it's very difficult to just like know which of these things would actually do that. But it's a fair thing to look for sure.
Okay, what's my difficulty at?
I'm gonna say 2. It's difficult, but not impossible.
Okay, cool. Let's see.
And you don't get a setback because you got fight through it. That's a remarkably useful attribute when you get your arm sliced off.
Gotta love that Scholar Progenium.
Yeah, dude. Cool. So 2 and 2, story point wise.
1 success and 5 advantage.
Okay. Yes, you can see a mechanism that could be crimped. And with your advantage, we'll say you can add 2 boost.
Yeah. Let's say I had a chance to actually look it over while he was hauling Marni up, so I can bring him over and be like, here, squish.
Sorry, Ryan, I think you mean here, and here with the one arm, because the other one is just gushing blood.
Yes.
Yeah.
He thinks he's doing both, but one hand's moving and the other's just a stump waving.
It's the phantom limb. Yeah, I got you. Cool. So you point that out, and then I think you kind of like fall backward. I think this is as much as you've been able to pull off. Attikus, you see what he's pointing to. It looks like a mag lock of some sort. If you crimp it, it'll likely slow the descent enough that you have some room to play. Not entirely, but like it'll slow your descent so you're not like imminently dead as you currently are.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go to the first one and try to squeeze it shut with my power fist.
Cool. Marni, are you trying to assist or are you trying to crimp one of the other ones shut? I think for you it'd be less like I'm going to squish it shut and more like what can I jam?
Yeah.
And
It's basically if there's anything she can hit with like the butt of her gun.
Yep. Okay. So you'll do a separate check rather than assisting.
Yeah.
All right. So Tyler, with your robo arm, this is just a difficulty 1.
Okay.
I'm going to spend a story point to make it red, though, because drama. And then you have 2 boost from Valentyne's observations.
Okay. 6 successes, 2 advantages, 1 triumph.
Oh, boy, howdy. That's a lot of rolls.
Holy shit, man.
All right. I will give you 2 of the 4 for that.
Okay.
I think you crush it, and then looking at the other one, it's just one of those moments of like, oh, this doesn't need to be complicated. I can just do the same thing again, and just immediately crush another one. So now there's sparks flying out of the mechanisms. Again, everything is very like cogwheel-y, with like itty bitty baby skulls on them. So you fuck up 2 of them. The elevator kind of like cranks downward, starts to list. Valentyne just kind of tumbles over and bumps into the back of Marni. It's not at a horrible angle, but it's enough that it is, because one side is stalling while the other isn't. It's that horrible metallic screeching in the air as the metal rends. Marni, it is up to you now. This is going to be a brawn and athletics as you just smash. Marni smash.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like it's basically a quick, are we hitting these things? And then like
I also like that you wouldn't wait. It's like, oh, you're hitting this as you're like smashing.
Yeah. I feel like it's probably like symmetrical, right?
Yeah. Ish.
All right. What's my difficulty?
Yours is higher because you're smashing it. Yours is going to be 4.
Ooh.
Story points set at 3 and 1.
Me no likey. I'm going to use that story point. I just got to figure out how I justify it.
It's desperation, man. Like this isn't like a fated thing. It's just like, this is Bruce Willis trying to break that window so Al won't leave, and then eventually just giving up and throwing a dead guy through it.
Yeah. This isn't a combat check. All right. Fuck. Well, this is risky, but it's what we've got.
Less risky than falling to our deaths in an elevator.
2 advantages, 4 failures.
Whoa.
Damn. All right. You're hitting the hinge with the butt of your shotgun, and just isn't fucking happening for you. So with just a mighty war cry, you just go like full like in silhouette, like backlit. Raise the shotgun high above your head, and then you bring it down with all of the fury of a woman who hates when machines don't do what she wants. And the shotgun goes off point blank. What is your soak?
3.
3. All right. So
what's the shotgun's damage?
I'm looking it up right now. Unless Laura, you probably have it on you, right?
8.
8. Okay. Well, the good news is it's not an attack, so I'm not adding anything to it. But you can subtract your soak. Otherwise, you take the full brunt of the shotgun blast as the gun blows apart.
Okay. Well, I've exceeded my wound threshold.
The shotgun blast hits you in the chest, and you stumble backward, blood oozing from the wound. And just before you black out, you extend a finger, point at the hinge. And what are your passing out words before you black out and possibly die to this metallic hinge that has defied you?
I think it's like, the Emperor, he must hate the Mechanicus. I hate machines.
Amazing. And then you fall backward over top of Valentyne, creating just like a pile of unfortunate souls. Attikus, you turn and see Marni blown away by a shotgun blast. The elevator continues to plummet. You have exactly 1 round to stop it.
I roll Marni off of Valentyne and I say, "Sir, can you hold on to me?"
Well, between the 2 of us, we'll both have 1 loose arm if you're hanging onto the rope, I hope.
Aye, sir. Hoping to bring this soldier with us.
Wait, you and me, or you're also bringing Marni?
All 3 of us, if I can manage, sir.
No, Marni's dead. It's just you and I.
Yes, sir. And I'll grab onto Valentyne with my flesh arm and my cybernetic arm. I just want to squeeze the cables.
Marni was a hero.
You grab the cables and
actually, I'm thinking about this like that scene in The Matrix. If I can, no, I can't do that many things because I need him. I need to hold on to him.
You need a hand for him.
So
You were gonna
I can't have the handgun to
fly away.
let the car go below us. So
Right.
no, I'm just squeezing the cables.
So you squeeze the cables. Valentine begins to sing, well, like delirious and full of gas and like blood loss. And just as you grip the cables and start to, like, sparks fly and you start to get pulled up and away, you see Marni open her eyes, clearly not dead, but just grievously wounded. But you have followed the orders given you by the Inquisitor at tremendous cost. Marni, what equipment do you have on you right now?
I have my axe.
You wanna see if you can help the cause?
Well, I mean, it's like
you are by combat rules unconscious. I'm giving you a final heroic action you can attempt to take, but don't take this as I get a free round. Cool, good for me.
Oh, so I just like I shove my axe into the wall and I slow my descent. No.
I think you imagine that before you wake up, and then you see everyone else flying away.
Yeah, I had like this dream where it was like epic, and then like Valentyne fell and like caught him one armed and was like sliding down with the axe, and it was like really epic. And then I just wake up and I'm just like, oh no. Just realizing that I'm dead now. This is it.
And with that, you wrap a meaty fist around the axe. And you look to the cables. You see Valentyne and Attikus still dropping. What do you do?
And I say, save the Emperor for me and yourselves, but mostly for the Emperor. And I just hit the cables with the axe.
And with that, the cables snap, and Valentyne and Attikus, you ascend rapidly up into the darkness as Marni Schwartzenberger meets the fate she narrowly avoided before and plummets to her death. Once again, Mr. Vicodin, we must warn you that if you do go with the cheaper building materials, odds are that if the cable snapped, it could whip things wildly in any direction. Oh, you want the greatest of savings? Well, that's fine. After all, everyone will be riding inside the elevator, right? A one-sided vox call from the construction of the Vicodin plant. As Marni Schwartzenberger disappears into the void, Attikus Vis and Inquisitor Valentyne, you ascend. Unfortunately for you, you're in an uncontrolled ascent, holding on to some cables, whipping around all over the place like fleshy ping pong balls. What I need from both of you, I think, Ryan, at this point, I think, what can you refresh my memory again on what exactly your conditioning allows you to prevent?
I remove one black die inflicted by critical injuries, the disoriented condition, or fear from any check involving.
Okay, great. So from you, sir, I need a survival and cunning. This is just you trying desperately to stay conscious as you drift in and out. This is going to be difficulty 3.
Okay.
There would be a black die, but it is removed. From the actually, I would say there should be 2. I'll let you remove both though, because you are both disoriented for being like, swinging around as this cable whips you up, but also bleeding and gassed. We are sitting, I believe, at 3 and 1.
I will use a story point.
Yeah.
Be awake.
Great. So it'll take us to 2 and 2. Great. And Attikus, from you, sir, I need brawn and athletics as you hold on for dear life. I'm going to say this is a difficulty of 3, not because your metal arm can't hang on to the cable, but because I'm also taking into account your fleshy arm holding Valentyne. I'm going to give you 1 point of boost because you are not also carrying Marni, and you've kind of been planning to. So this is somewhat easier than the scheme you'd been concocting. Yeah, I think that's about it. We are sitting at 2 and 2 story point wise.
Okay. I'm ready to roll.
Let's see what happens. Who do you want to hear from first, Tom?
Let's hear from Valentyne so we know what happens after Attikus's roll.
Great. 3 successes and 2 threat.
Okay. And Attikus.
A lot of blank dice. So 1 advantage, 1 triumph. And that's it.
Ooh, that triumph's a necessary one, though.
Man.
As you're battered around, you just wrap the cables in your fist, the way I do with Ripley's leash when she's like, "I'm gonna go smell that in the middle of the road," and I'm like, "No, for the Emperor." So you just coil it around your hand. You are going to take 3 points of damage, which your soak value may reduce, just from buffeting off the walls and from Valentyne's threats.
Okay.
But Valentyne, you rolled a success, right?
I rolled 3 successes.
3 successes. All right. So you are conscious. The Inquisitorial, actually, I would argue this is probably more your commissar training than your Inquisitorial training, but like, you know, given the amount of insurrections commissars have to put down in the middle of a fight, odds of you getting stabbed, shot, or dismembered are awfully high. That's why so many of them have cool claws.
Yeah, I mean, most of that happened during training.
Yeah, exactly. In the grim darkness of training, there is only pain and learning. So you both managed to hold on as you begin to whip up. Attikus, as you ascend, now might be a good time to start thinking about your plan. What do you plan to do once you get up there?
Well, I think we're looking at leaving right now. Did I hear the gunshot as well? Like
you heard Eugene play it. Eugene played the.
That's right. Eugene played it. Okay, so mission accomplished, as far as I understand. It's about making sure the Inquisitor stays alive now, right? So
yeah, I mostly mean like at this rate, you guys are going to hit the roof.
Do we have a plan before we hit the roof?
The cables are being like whipped up into the ceiling, so you guys are rapidly ascending, but there's currently no like stop vector.
Yeah, I think he's basically going to. Is this an elevator shaft with multiple elevators, like along each other or anything like that?
No, because it's to it's the private elevator to the like sort of VIP office. There's only the one.
Okay.
And Vicodin's door is the only one you saw on your way up.
Okay. Well, we know that there's some kind of like takeoff and landing pad near there, so it might be best to go there again, or somewhere near the top to make our escape.
You also aren't 100% certain that Vicodin is dead. You know he got shot.
Yeah, but
it would be a real bummer if he like went and got patched up somewhere. With like, I'm fine.
So looking around this shaft, is it well lit enough that I can even see my surroundings, or am I just
dimly lit?
flying through the dark?
There are service lights. Like on your way up, you get that classic like whoom whoom light thing where it's just like service lights all the way up. The Vicodin's office is at the very top. Beyond those doors that you wrenched open previously, there is like a small berth for the top of the elevator, but then a bunch of like jagged machinery and horrible cogs and that sort of thing.
Right.
However, that space is well lit. So above you can see there's like nightmares directly above you as you fly up. You've got the walls around you, and then there's Vicodin's doors, which do seem to be open a little bit as they are caught on Valentyne's severed arm. So they're like doing that like awkward, like, you know, they whizzed shut, seared it, but got stuck on the bones, and they kind of like reopened. So they're currently just like opening and like scissoring shut.
Okay. My God. Great. Okay. So I think first I'll check in with Valentyne, and I'll say, "Are you still with us, sir?
Conscious as the Emperor wills it.
Do you have the strength to hold on? Can I use my other arm?"
Well, I mean, what do you need it for? Maybe I can do the arm part.
Can you hold my riot shield, sir? It'll help absorb the blow and hopefully keep these doors open. You know, ones that were, I can't point. My hands are full. But
the ones,
the ones that are rapidly approaching, sir. I need an answer soon.
Yes, I'm sure I can. Valentyne says not entirely sure that he can, but definitely trusting this more than his ability to fall to his death.
Yeah, I feel like this is a like hand it to him. He kind of like can't loop an arm through it like a proper riot shield. It's more like a clutch it, like wedge it onto your plate. In like it's tucked in there. It will hurt, I will say. This is not a good solution from a non-pain perspective, but it is a not die solution. So
yeah, and Valentyne's refractor field will still be active, but I don't think it'll protect them both. I don't really know the rules on this, but I'm imagining it will
not
one-man gig. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay,
all
then.
right.
The plan is this.
Vis?
Yeah. Attikus with the Inquisitor under his arm, right? He's got him fully tucked in there, and his mechanical arm holding on to these cables, rapidly ascending. He's going to swing out. He's going to kick off the wall so that he has enough lateral trajectory to go through the doors, just using our momentum being carried up and then basically redirecting it to a more lateral trajectory to go through the doors. They are snapping open and shut. The riot shield is there as an insurance policy.
All right. I like this a lot. This is a lot to try and pull off.
Yes,
so
it is.
I'm going to say you spend a story point in order to be able to attempt this, dropping us to 1 and 3.
To me, this is just like playing out as like speed in the Grimdark.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
And I love it.
Like speed if Sandra Bullock died right before Keanu had to go like running through the sewers, because like I know some people were shipping Vis and Marni, and
I know.
You know, R.I.P. It's true. Relationships.
This is Keanu Reeves and Jeff Daniels. That's all.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. But it's true what they said in the first film, then repeated awkwardly in the second film. Relationships can't form under high stress environments.
Right.
All right. So with that, we're sitting at 1 and 3 in my favor. I'm going to call this an athletics and brawn, I think.
Okay.
Tyler, I think that makes the most sense for me.
Okay.
And then Ryan, I think from you, probably like survival normally goes with cunning. I'm almost inclined to say like willpower, because I think this is just like the Emperor needs this to work, so god damn it, I'll hold it with my teeth. Or you know what? No, let's call it discipline and willpower. That makes the most sense. Your body is failing, but your mind is not. Or your will is not. Your will is angry and full of the golden light of the Emperor. Okay, as the jagged ceiling full of spiky steampunk nightmares rapidly approaches, Attikus, you pick your time and you kick off. Given that you're not actually trying to beat the timing on this, I'm going to say for you, Tyler, this is just a difficulty 3.
Okay.
Because I think I would venture that Atticus's plan is something to the effect of, I'm going to try and time it so we can get through.
Mm-hmm.
I have contingencies if we get wedged. And if we don't, I'm going to try and like shoulder through it.
Yeah. I'm going to try and tank the.
Yeah. So it's not really a question of like, this is literally just like, can I make the leap? But because you're not trying to time it, you're not trying to do it in a non-squishy, like, video game cutscene way. I think we'll just say 3.
Okay.
I am, however, going to impose a setback for having to hold on to Valentyne.
Mm-hmm.
and for trying to put his safety above your own. It just makes it harder.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna give you a boost for the robot arm though, because A, it's dope. B, I feel like it confers a tremendous amount of advantage on like all the things you would be trying to do here. Right. So points for that. Do you have anything else you'd like to make a case for adding or subtracting?
I don't think so. I'm just having a quick look here, but I really don't think so.
I think if Valentyne saw what he was doing, Valentyne could definitely yell a now. He's got his like robot eyes to be able to see in this circumstance if he was trying to help time hit the door.
Yep. All right. So Ryan, I'll let you do that. We'll give a boost to Attikus, but I'm going to give you a setback because it means you're focusing on something other than holding on to the shield.
Yep.
Right.
And our story point setup is what right now?
Is 1 in 3 in my favor. So not the best.
I'm going to wait. I'm still going to wait. What's my difficulty for Valentyne time?
For Valentyne, I'm going to say this is a difficulty of 4. You're in rough shape. You've wedged the shield into your chest. Now, keep in mind, like, these things don't have like razor blades on them. They just, with the force at which they snapped shut on your arm was too much for your arm. Mm-hmm. You're certainly risking body with this, but it's not like, you just get hacked in half. You might, but the odds aren't great. So that plus the setback you've got the 2 setback you ignore for bleeding and poison. However, you do have the setback for timing for Attikus. I'm also going to give you an additional setback just because you're trying to hold on to a shield with one arm while trying not to pass out. Just general, all purpose. It's an awkward thing. I will, however, give you 1 boost for, as Haley Stanfield would put it in the film, true grit. I feel like you've come too far. Like, at the very least, you need to ensure that Vicodin is instead. If nothing else, this might be enough to topple the conspiracy. You just need visual confirmation. And so I think it's one of those, just like, if I get cleaved in half coming through, I don't care. I'll crawl over there and take his fucking pulse. Cool. So that is the spread. Now, here's the catch. We're not going to do these as a waterfall where like one person goes, then the other person goes. You have 1 story point between you. I'm being extraordinarily kind by not spending any of mine. So I'm just leaving this in your hands. Which one of you takes the story point? Or neither. I mean, I guess you could also just leave it on the table. The dice have been so kind to you this session.
Yeah.
I think if we're going to...
I think it depends more on me to pull this off than you.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Valentyne is trying to hold the shield. You're trying to make sure we don't smash into the top of the fucking elevator. If I had to pick...
I'll take the story point. All right. Just to shore up the odds.
And as they soar towards it, Valentyne has been... I mean, he was sad at the loss of Marni. It hurt his heart, but he recovers very quickly because that's his fucking job. So he's just singing a new hymn that's just like, "Wah! Who? Good God, Emperor! What is it good for? Every single human! Say it again!" Like,
I like it. I mean, one day we got to release the Valentyne album. It's like Valentyne sings the hits on 2 compact discs.
The Valentyne Heresy, Valentyne Heresy sing along.
There we go.
It's very bad. It's very, very bad.
The Heresy
sing along blog.
And now, if it please the Emperor, Wonderwall. It's unchanged. In the grim future, there is still Wonderwall.
We all know that was written by Erebus.
Yeah, but he's got in a big fight with his brothers. They don't hang out no more. All right, go ahead and roll them bones.
Corfeiron. Anyways.
All right, so the spread is thus: 3 successes, 1 advantage, 1 triumph.
Whew. And I have 3 advantages and 2 failures. We get through, but no shield.
Yeah, man. Wouldn't that be a nice way of this happening? So you leap, Attikus, and tremendously well. The timing is correct. Valentyne pauses his hymn to shout out to you, and you leap. And it's like full on, like anyone like leaping in like a giant mech suit or anything, where it's just that like giant metal arm out. You claw the ground on the other side, pull yourself through. Unfortunately, Valentyne does get caught on the shield, and him get kind of caught on the lip. And the doors slam into him. They managed to slam into him twice before you pull him through. Ryan, I need remind me of your spread again, sir.
What do you mean by spread?
Your
Like
dice,
your roll
dice
result.
spread.
Oh, 3 advantage, 2 failure.
Okay. So you like leap through, you pull him through, and the shield catches. It spins him in your arm. The doors slam him. I will say once rather than twice. And Ryan, you're going to take 5 points of damage. However, you can subtract your soak.
Okay.
And Tyler, what is the soak on the shield?
This would be considered melee damage, right?
Yeah.
So it's 1 defense for melee. It's
Okay.
it's meant to like protect against ranged attack. Melee
Sure.
can,
All
like,
right. I
get
think
around it,
for
so.
our purposes, we'll say this adds 1 additional soak for
Okay.
this, just because I imagine like as it comes together, like the first one, like it just hits you and bangs up. So how much of that damage do you actually take, Ryan?
That'll mean I take 1 of that damage.
Okay. Narratively speaking, I think it crushes your leg as it does this. You feel the bones splinter, but you are otherwise your squishy bits are safe. So as is the way of things in 40K, limbs kind of a lost cause from the start.
As always, things are worse and better.
Exactly.
40K.
Yeah. But you managed to pull through with a dented but still functional shield.
Great. What do we see, Tom?
Yeah, I pull him free from the door and I immediately like 180 and I'm looking around the room. What is the situation?
So you're in Glasgow Vicodin's office. It is a sort of a remarkably well-appointed office compared to a lot of the stuff you've seen. There's no for a man who clearly likes the finer things. It's actually got an unnervingly sleek design aesthetic. This thing looks like it kind of fell out of the Apple store. That said, there are the only kind of detail that throws this sleek look off are the amount of like mounted animal heads and pelts that are just kind of all over the place. So much like our boy Gaston over in Beauty and the Beast uses antlers in all of his decorating. But there are a number of exotic Xenos from kind of across the galaxy mounted. He has a sort of a large array of screens connected to like an old typewriter keyboard that show various parts of the facility. You can see sort of like a Vox speaker next to it. Through the screens, you can of course see the carnage that was wrought from the purge order. On the factory floors. The tour guide continues to give tours on the tourist floor. They are completely unaware that all of this is going down. At the far end of there are windows lining the room, which look out kind of over both the factory and further out. You can see the battle lines, Attikus, where you first landed. You can see the endless war beyond the dome. Sort of continuing in perpetuity. This seems to be beyond any of the cloaking effects that the rest of the dome is subject to. But most notably, of course, is Vicodin himself, who has been shot twice in the chest, or sorry, in the back rather, but the bolts came out the front. He has gaping holes in his chest. And he is wheezing blood from his slumped position next to kind of his big command desk. You can see that he's with a blood-slicked hand, desperately trying to uncork a bottle of Vicodin, and has is just kind of like doing that kind of like dying man thing where his hand just slips around it. These are kill shots. Like there's no like, these are like small bolter rounds. So he's fucked up, but still breathing.
So I'll set Valentyne down on the floor near the entrance in the elevator, and I will walk over to Glasgow Vicodin. I'll drag him back over, and I will just say, one Glasgow Vicodin for... Fuck, sorry, I just lost I'm trying to use like 40K like vocab, and sometimes it just goes.
I understand, man.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to know it. He's not an Inquisitor guy.
One Glasgow Vicodin for Inquisition, sir. And he'll just like drop him down in front of you. And he'll say, securing perimeter. And he's like, I'm going to leave. I'm going to go and leave him to the boss.
So, Attikus, the clearest thing you would want to check out is there's a massive metal door that has been. It's got a very fine carved. Like the entire room is in greens and browns. It's got a real like sort of like hunter vibe to it, despite the sleek lines of everything. There's a massive metal door at the far end of the room that has a meticulously carved wooden door with the sort of Vicodin heraldry on it that has been like basically drilled into this metal door to make it seem a little more woodsy. But it is ajar, and you can feel a harsh wind whipping in from outside it. As you kind of peek through it, you can see that it leads to a rampway that sort of ascends to a landing platform that's kind of up on top of the building. This is clearly where VIPs from Offworld arrive. At the far end of the platform, you can see a Viper class scout sloop, which is a small, sort of by Imperial Navy standards, a fairly small ship, but the smallest capable of warp travel.
Okay.
And as you kind of look, you can see a man kind of like pointing in the whipping wind against the gray sky in a sort of a heavy suit of Imperial armor with a whipping red cape. And even at this distance, you recognize the Inquisitorial rosette on the emblazoned on the back of it, as he kind of yells to a couple of servitors who are seemingly making preparations for takeoff.
Okay. He's an Inquisitor too, and although we know that he's in cahoots, or so we thought, he appears to have shot Vicodin in the back, but we know that he's been corrupted. If he hasn't noticed me, I'm going to go back and get Valentyne.
Sure. You notice that he doesn't seem to be in a rush. Like he's doing a lot of like gesturing for like hurry up.
I don't want to scare him off.
No. I think a quick sort of even just standing it there for a second, you can feel the moisture in the air, and you feel like this is a bad climate for a vehicle of this sort. So there's clearly some like, it wouldn't be de-icing. It's probably like the humidity's really fucked it up. So there's servitors kind of doing their work, but yeah, you've got a moment or two. Meanwhile, back in the office, Valentyne, pain is truly the Emperor's kiss. And you have been much kissed by the Emperor today. But your quarry is bleeding up beside you. It's one of those like action movie moments where like the hero and the villain have both got their asses kicked and are like laying there bleeding out. It's very like Batman and Joker having just kicked each other's ass and like various stories. How do you deal with Glasgow Vicodin?
I think he's sitting next to him, so he'd just say, Glasgow Vicodin, I'd love to say that you led me on a merry chase, but really you just sat here and it was annoying to arrive. And then he'll just like grab his chin and turn his face towards him and say, I hate for interrogations to be unpleasant. And you're going to have the temptation to not answer any questions because you're sure that you're going to die. And what could I possibly do to someone who's going to die? Which is why I'd like to introduce you to Eugene. And he'll just reach into his bag and throw Eugene into the air where he floats. And he's like, many people believe that to become a servo skull or a servitor, you have to be alive. But the interesting thing is the Inquisition has moved past that. When you die, we can put your brain inside something like this, and it becomes, one could call it, endless nihilistic terror. Eugene, could you play what's inside your actual biological mind? And Eugene just starts playing, and it's just horrified screaming from a broken voice begging for no, stop, let me out, no, stop, no, stop. And he says, that's enough of that. Now, Glasgow, I have a very simple question for you. Who are the other conspirators whose names do you know? If you answer my question, I don't put you in one of these skulls. If you don't, I do. Which is also worth logging, Tom. You can't make a servo skull out of a dead guy. This is a lie.
Yep. So I need a roll from that, Holmes.
A practiced gambit between you and Eugene.
This is a goof. This is a goof they do.
That's pretty smart.
So this is going to be deception and, well, I'd give you coercion, actually. Deception or coercion?
Oh, it's deception, baby. And what's my difficulty, Tom?
Your difficulty, brother, is... Oof, this is a tough one. I'm going to say 4. It's a real convincing lie. It's very good. However, he's also had 2 holes blown in his chest. So how much he can actually... It's one of those things where it's like the dying man. You're like, listen, here's a bunch of horrible things intellectually. And he's just like, So
yeah, this is more a question of how long does he go before he dies, as opposed to whether or not I convince him.
Yeah, and how much does he actually recognize the threat you're pitching him, and also I think just from like a narrative perspective, where is he at? Your role will determine kind of what his mindset is with all of this. I'm going to give you a shiny boost for our boy Eugene playing the part. I am, however, going to spend a story point because I got him to spare. Bring one of the purples to a red. I will also give you a boost for looking too fucked up to be lying. I feel like Valentyne is such a fucking horrific mess that it also seems like you're on death's door. So it'd be really weird for you to have a long con. Admittedly, you do. But I just feel like logically, this really does seem like a tell me the names before we die kind of situation.
Yeah,
you know?
he looks at me and sees a commissar, not an inquisitor.
Yeah. This is just Data swapping sassy words with Tom Hardy before the ship blows up, you know?
Let's see what we've got. 1 advantage.
All right. Interesting.
Ho.
He coughs up some blood, and Valentyne, you're frustrated to realize it's a laugh, and he just manages like Billenberg's a bigger fucker than you are, sir, and trust me, if that was a threat that could be made, it'd have been made. But I tell you what, you get the cap off my bottle, you give me a swig of the good, and I'll give you a name.
Well, how about we meet in the middle? I'll open the cap, and he like clumsily takes the cap off and takes out the bottle. He's like, you give me the name, I'll give you the drink, and we both just die.
All right. Sounds fair. You gotta find... And he kind of like coughs up some more blood, and he says, well, I'll give you a billing bug for free because he fucking shot me in the back. But the real one you gotta watch for is it's the fucking Marine commander, Sandor Rafferty. Aside from the green skin, he's the scariest one I met. You know, I'll also give you the fucking Xenos. Trin Rarkai Eldari scum. Would have been fucking tasty if I could manage it, though. Always wonder what those Eldar fucks taste like, you know? Now give me my drink and let me die.
Yes, just a second. And then he's just going to like reach down and reach around to the back of his jacket and say, all right, I'll give you this drink you so desperately deserve. And then he'll just jam the pistol, like the mouth of the fucking barrel of his last pistol into his mouth and say, this one's for Marni, and just blow out his brainstem through the back of his skull. So
amazing. His eyes go wide. He really thought the commissar would give him a drink. Instead, he drank of Marni's fury. Attikus, you burst back through the door in time to see the back of Glasgow Vicodin's head blow out. The Inquisition has achieved its objective. Valentyne is like, he definitely just kind of like falls back onto his back at this point. This was kind of his last hurrah for the moment, but he's still conscious. But Ryan, I think it's safe to say at this point you're probably inoperable. For the most part. What's your health at right now, dude?
7, actually.
Oh, so you're like Hardy and Hale just like fucked up
tapped.
by bad dice rolls.
I mean, he's got like fucking a bum ass leg and one arm, so it's not like he's going to be leading a fucking charge.
But he's okay. Well, then I'll say you're not fully tapped. Then you're just like carry me.
Yeah, it's like, can you? Attikus, could you do me a favor and find something I could use as some sort of crutch? That would be excellent.
Yes, sir. You may want to keep that as a gun arm instead of a crutch, sir. There's one Inquisitor Barthis Billingberg the 12th on the other side of these doors, loading up a sloop. Sloop?
No.
Loading up a sloop for escape, sir.
That is fantastic. People say the Emperor doesn't survive, but we're doing this for him, and clearly Marni's sacrifice is appreciated. He'll just reach over and like pat down Glasgow. Does he have like a better gun or something? Because I have a holdout last pistol that kind of stinks.
Yeah, sure. We will say he's got... You've got a holdout?
Basically, I have a compact last pistol, the equivalent of like a Derringer of the last pistol.
Yeah. All right. Let's say he's got a hell pistol. Oh, fuck. No, we can't. It's a backpack weapon. Shit.
Do we just want to say bolt pistol? Because I already have the stats.
Sure, we can
or
say
I
it's
could,
a
you know
bolt
what? I'll
pistol.
take my own fucking bolt pistol out of my severed arm that's stuck in the fucking elevator. I'll do that. God damn it.
No.
I try to take his hell pistol, I yank it, it's stuck to a backpack, and I throw it aside and then just peel open my hand and take back my own.
Yeah, it's just that moment of like you try and pull it off and it's like on a cord and then you flip him over and it's like drilled into his like lower back and you're like,
yeah.
Of course.
Get my own bolt pistol. I mean, are there any data slates or anything on his desk that we could just boost on the way out?
I have a look.
Yes, you've got like the bundle of docs from downstairs. We'll say you get a few more things, but no, like you would have to hack his stuff, and with the ship about to leave, probably not the best call.
Yeah, no.
I will say though that Attikus, as you quickly search, you do find in his desk there is an auto pistol. Which is I don't know if you need the stats for this, but
I don't have those stats.
Okay. It's light, damage 5, crit 4. It has the specials auto fire and inaccurate. This man was not prepared to fight in his room.
Lyric died using an auto pistol.
Hey, there we go. That said, he did have clearly a bit of a Scarface sort of hope going here in this drawer. So you find the pistol, and you also find an additional hallucinogen grenade. And you also find a frag grenade. You count yourselves somewhat lucky that he went with the hallucinogen grenade and not the frag.
Yeah.
In the elevator.
Kept Attikus from having to dive on top of it.
Truly.
All right, so new mission. Eugene, if anything goes wrong, take the conversation we just recorded along with those names that are involved. there's Flyrant transmitted to someone who'll do something fucking useful. Blast it on all the guard channels and just send it out into the universe if we both die. Otherwise, it's time for us to kill a crooked Inquisitor. Here's what I'm thinking, Attikus. Let me know if you have any tactical notes. I'm thinking drag me over to the door. You throw that frag grenade you just found, then charge him with your shield and punch him, and I'll try to shoot him with bolt rounds from where I lay in the doorway.
That works for me, sir. My only other thought was sit you down right here at Vicodin's desk, sit you in the chair, give you a bit of a steady position. I go in there, scare him, flush him out into this room where you can shoot him. Thought it might be an option. Appreciate the backup, though, sir.
I don't object either. I just don't know how you're going to scare him towards me.
Oh, I can be quite intimidating, sir.
I mean, won't you just scare him towards you as you're the only person blocking the escape in here?
My intention is to run to the end. Run to where the ship is, sir.
And charge towards him from there.
And that's the escape being blocked off, sir.
Well, you're so crazy that I just might like it. All right, yes, you sneak out there, chase him towards here. If he doesn't run or attacks you, just kill him. I'm totally fine with that. And if you run him towards me, I'll start shooting. He'll probably freeze, then you can chase him and punch him in the spine.
Understood, sir. You wait right here.
And I'll pick him up and sit him down into the executive chair, spin him so that he's angled just right to that door kind of thing. He can just rest his gun hand on the desk.
Yeah, and then he'll just get low to use the bulk for as much cover as he can and wait.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll scoop up my riot shield, affix it to my arm, and I'll have that frag grenade ready as well. Figure that should be a good and scary kind of deterrent as well.
Cool. And with that, you're just charging the ship?
Yeah, I'm just charging the ship with riot shield raised. And I scream, "For the Emperor!" and just come busting through that door.
So you bash out the door, start your charge, and it's weirdly, it's almost like an athlete, like a football player taking the field. You've got run down this little tunnel and up onto the tarmac. Billingberg turns. He's basically like an Ed Harris type. If he Ed Harris, if he had a little bit of weight on him, so just a stocky Ed Harris. He turns, there's just a bit of a sense of that world weary, what now kind of vibe, and he just says, "I think you've got that wrong, son. That's my line." And he reaches behind him and draws out a blue-tinged vibrating power sword, and then raises his bolt pistol and says, "If your master had truly wanted to be part of the Confederacy, he truly should have kept his operation somewhat safer. Fabius Bio will not fail us as he did. Now be a good lad and die." And he opens fire. So, Tyler, are you attempting to shoot as you run, or are you just attempting to riot shield?
I'm running with the riot shield up and my arm cocked back.
All right. So the Inquisitor opens fire as he charges, or I guess as he stands his ground. You're charging at him. He does that thing where he because he's got his sword out, he begins to step forward while firing in very much we see it in gangster movies where someone just walks forward firing a pistol.
Sure.
So he is going to roll. What is your defense, sir? Your range defense?
4
4
with the riot shield.
All right.
Thank God for that riot shield.
All right. Second, please. I'm on the wrong stat block. Now I'm on the right stat block. Okay. So we got that. And then, sorry, you said 1 from the riot shield?
4 from the riot shield.
4 from the riot
So
shield.
4 total, right?
4 total. 1 defense from my arm, my armor that I'm wearing, and 3 from the riot shield.
That is very good. Well done. I'm proud of you. I'm going to spend a story point, I think, to jack his dice up a bit here, which means that we are now sitting at 2 and 2.
Okay.
Did you want to spend any to make the shots more difficult?
Let's see how this first one goes to get a sense of how desperate this fight is.
Sure. Dig that. Okie dokie. And rolling. 2 advantages, 1 triumph, 2 failures. Ugh.
What an odd spread.
Truly. Okay, well, I'm going to spend the advantage to impose a setback on your next die roll, but I feel like okay, this makes sense. He opens fire, so he walks forward, it's just like blam, blam, like, the roar of the bolter. It hits hard, like it you can feel like your bone bruising as these explosive shots blast off the riot shield. And then you hear the telltale clicking of an empty clip. And he just looks down and says, wasted too much on that fool Glasgow. And he throws the gun aside and just kind of like drops into a proper kind of like double-handed grip on his sword stance, and basically just like, Qui-Gon Jinn's it up next to his head and just kind of waits for you. But the good news is, with his failures, he is out of bullets. So I'm going to spend my triumph to give him a little boost on the sword, but otherwise, it's your play, sir.
Okay. Seeing him hold his ground, I'm going to change up the tactic a little bit, still closing the distance, but I suck in a deep breath with my, what are they called? They're called respirator lungs. Suck in a deep breath of clean air, and I throw the other hallucinogen grenade at him, but I continue to close the distance anyway. Like, I'm going to run into it as well. And if he wants to scrap, we can scrap in.
Yeah, man, that's a fucking cool play. I gotta do some fast math on hallucinogen grenades. 1 moment, please, as I look that up. That is fucking metal as hell. Good for you, sir. Okay, great. He unfortunately does not have anything to counter that.
Doesn't have robot lungs.
Does not have robot lungs. Not a man.
What happens when you don't grow up on a fucking radiation cancer planet. Your lungs work fine, and you don't need respirator lungs.
Truly. He is fortune's fool this day. All right. So yeah, he is. The grenade goes off, and you see him still like standing there dramatically with the sword, and then just kind of gives like a faint sniff. And you again just see that like world weary eye roll of just honestly, and I'm going to see how much resistance he puts up to this, but it's not great for him. Yikes. Okay, and I'm rolling. Oh Jesus! 4 failure, 2 threats. He is tripping balls.
Okay.
So yeah, he is. He looks and he just says, "Wait, how? No, it's impossible. No, I killed you. I killed you years ago, Dad." As you rush forward. Cool, and then you're just plowing right in there for fisticuffs.
Yep.
All right. I think it's safe to say, with the amount of failures and threats I rolled on my last 2 rolls, that you can just charge in there. I don't think I get like a free swing or anything, given how deeply I've
deeply stoned he is.
Shit the bed. Yeah. Just like truly fucked the pooch on this one. So go ahead and punch, man. Punch like your heart's content.
Okay, so 3 there, 3 there. That's the spread. Okay. What's the difficulty on this?
This is just a straight melee. So
It's a straight melee? Okay.
Yeah, I believe it's 3 for melee. I know it's 2. 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's his defense, Tom?
It's a good question, Ryan. His defense is, I so rarely have character stats in front of me. It's so strange. The defense is 2.
So that's 2 setback, right?
Yes, that's
how
correct.
that works. Okay.
I would like to use a story point to give Tyler a little bit of a blessing from the Emperor. They happen in subtle, small ways. But what I will say is, as he is charging, the glow of the Emperor on his armor actually shines forth and almost lights the way, kind of giving a little bit of a flash through the smoke into the stoned eyes.
Great. Yeah. As the clouds break and a ray of sunshine hits the armor.
Okay. And how does that? That's just upgrading a die, right?
Yep. Yeah, it turns a green to a yellow.
Yep. Okay. All right, I am ready to roll.
Have at it, brother.
Okay. 2 successes, 2 advantage. It's tight, but we came out positive.
Cool, man. So what is the damage on your Power Fist? I hesitate to ask.
Damage
It's a lot.
+2. Damage +2.
Damage on Power Fist is 16. +2 is 18.
Jesus. All right, so what's the total there, man?
18 damage.
18
damage. All right.
Does it have any pierce there, Tyler?
No, there's no piercing. There's breach, but that's for armor of vehicles. There is something. This might be fun, depending on the layout of what's behind him. And there's something else. Special custom grip stun. Sorry, folks.
Dude, I just spent like 5 minutes looking up a grenade. You can take a minute or two to figure out exactly how many internal organs burst when you punch an Inquisitor with the power of the sun.
I'm going to use 2 advantage to my 2 advantage to activate knockdown, which knocks the guy prone.
All right.
Which if there's just like open air because we're at the top of a penthouse behind him, I wouldn't be mad at just swatting him up, like just backhanding him off the building.
Okay. So fuck. He's such a cool character, but so yeah, as he here's the thing. I was going to put up a fight on that, except he's also suffering the effects of a hallucinogen grenade. So he's tripping balls, and you just punched him with like a tremendous amount of fury.
Yeah,
so
like you can take the blow and like just like collapse in front of me, like prone in front of me. That's
what but here's the thing. If he was in his right mind, I think that's what would happen. But I'm just like, I'm playing through the scenario in my head, and he's like hopped up on a hallucinogen. So I don't think he's like, if he was in his right mind, yeah, 100%. That's the play, right? You just like, duck and cover and slide backward. But he also thinks you're his dad, and he's hallucinating, and he got punched by a power fist on top of a roof. So yeah, you just you just with all of your fury, what do you yell as you fucking backhand him off the roof?
I ain't your dad's son, but I'm gonna send you to meet him.
And with that, you crack Billingberg so hard the rosette around his neck snaps and cracks against the ground, shattering in two from the force of your hit. And he goes flying like up and off the side of the building. And you just hear a classic as he swings his fucking super cool power sword that I never got to fucking use. But you skid to a halt, and the servitors all kind of turn in place and stare at you. And one of them says, "Awaiting inquisitorial orders."
Continue. And I'm going to kick the hallucinogen grenade off, instruct them to get back to work, and I'm going back for Inquisitor Valentyne.
They kind of look to each other, and one of them just says, "Close enough for Imperium work," and then they just go back to fixing up the ship. You stride back in, and Valentyne, at this point, you're just like, your breath is coming ragged to you. The pain is overwhelming, but an evil Inquisitor does not enter. It is, in fact, Attikus Vis.
I'm going to take a wild guess. He didn't run.
He was uncompliant, sir.
And I'll just leave it at that and scoop him up and bring him over to the ship.
Amazing. So, Valentyne, you are hella relieved to see a Viper class on this landing pad. With it, you will finally actually have the ability to travel between systems in a non-fleet capacity, which you reckon will be rather useful. The servitors almost seem relieved when they see you. You get the sense that swapping one Inquisitor for another is just fine by their programming.
For a robot, a rosette is a rosette.
Exactly right. Like there's they're definitely there's no just blip in their programming. Just be like, what? Oh, fine, yes. The ship itself is a small vessel, but still of a decent size, larger than your previous ride by a little bit. It has the in a lot of ways, it looks like if you took a proper Imperial vessel and then you didn't follow the washing instructions and just shrank it in the dryer. So it's small, it's lightweight, it's not particularly well armed, but it does have warp capacity, and Valentyne at this point, that's about all you care about. Attikus, you drag the Inquisitor into the small ship, and a number of servitors kind of stop what they're doing and turn, and immediately you can see them all scan for the rosette, which I think Valentyne at this point you'd probably be kind of weakly holding up with your other hand, and one of them just says Inquisitor recognized. And one of them is clearly running your Rosette's credentials through the system. Ryan, what was the name of your Inquisitor that you were assigned to?
Ooh, I have that written down somewhere. Just a moment.
Doug.
Inquisitor Wilhelm Roach.
Nice.
I like Doug.
The servitors say, Rosette accepted. Welcome back, Inquisitor Wilhelm Roach. And then suddenly, there's one of them screams in sort of mechanical agony as it receives a file. Servitors live a bad life, and just says, error. Inquisitor Wilhelm Roach died. Please, who are you?
I am Inquisitor Lucius Valentyne, raised from the role of interrogator to full Inquisitor on the battlefield by Inquisitor Wilhelm Roach.
And the servitors kind of run the numbers, and they say, error. Inquisitor Lucius Valentyne, body recovered, reported dead.
Incorrect.
Attikus, at this point, you kind of step forward and just slowly roll your fist. And one of the ones from outside says, must be a mistake on our part. Welcome aboard, Inquisitor Valentyne. For the purposes of, and it's clear this thing is desperately trying to find a way around its programming. It says, for the purposes of this vessel, this one requests that you name yourself Billingberg for input purposes.
Agreed. For the purpose of this ship, I will be Inquisitor Lucius Valentyne Billingberg the 13th.
And suddenly all the rest of the servitors, their shoulders drop 2 inches, and they say, welcome back, Inquisitor Billingberg. We must update our numerics. The 13th, welcome. Yes, this is good. All hail the Emperor. And then they just go back to busy work. Valentyne, this is as alarming as the report of your death having been officially entered into record, as well as the reclamation of your body, which is somewhat concerning, is... the fact remains that through the use of Roach's Rosette and the pre-existing somewhat clearly, someone has clearly hacked these servitors at some point. This is not how servitors respond to things. But if you were going to commit massive treason on a galactic scale, you probably fuck with your servitors too.
I mean, it makes sense. If Billingberg was worried that he might get declared excommunicate at some point, he would need a way to jury rig his own systems.
Exactly. So the good news is you have some wiggle room here. And as long as you use the Billingberg name for now, you have access to the ship. More importantly, as you make your way into the Viper class, one of the servitors immediately comes out with a wheelchair, and another a medical servitor comes out and immediately injects you with just a cocktail of drugs. And you can feel your body relaxing. You almost can't feel the pain in your leg or your arm as the drugs do their work. Luckily, your conditioning works for this as well. It's one of the ways you were always able to drink your fellow students under the table, conditioning your mind to survive the effects of poisons as well as injury and various other ailments. You're wheeled into the bridge area of the ship, which is similar to a larger. I guess you could almost say the Defiant from Deep Space Nine, if you've seen that, where it's similar to a shuttle, but just a little bit larger. There is kind of a captain's chair that Billingberg, again, you can see his hand everywhere. He's clearly retrofitted the sloop for his own purposes. There's a command chair. There's a bunch of different consoles. It's not a massive ship by any stretch, but it's big enough that you have some room. You can actually carry crew if you need them. But more importantly, looking around, you can see that Billingberg has clearly rigged the ship for deep space communication. There are a number of astropaths who kind of turn, and there's just a moment where they all kind of look at you, realize you're not Billingberg, and then just kind of go back to their readings as they kind of look through tomes of various astropathic channels. Astropaths don't have a particularly long life expectancy in the Imperial Navy. So you get the sense that they're just kind of any minute they're alive is a good minute. So not going to ask too many questions. But you now have access to deep space telecommunication. But perhaps more importantly, you have access to Billingberg's own chambers.
Well, he knows where he's going. First thing he's got to figure out, is there a fucking pilot that they can use to get the fuck out of here?
Yes, there is. You walk in and there's a man who looked perfectly at home in Necromunda, big, crazy goggles, just spikes of green hair. And he's sitting just in, feet up on the dash, looking at a bottle of Amsec in one hand and a bottle of Vicodin in the other. And as you enter, he just throws the Vicodin over his shoulder and just says, "Ugh, swell," and takes just a good long drag of Amsec. It says, "Slightly less swill." As the bottle crashes, he kind of turns around and his eyes go wide, and he just says, "Oh, Inquisitor, you look like a completely different person."
Yes, congratulations on your new employ. Everything's going to move forward smoothly. I'm another Inquisitor. He was heretical, but you'll be able to work off any penance just by working with me. This is Attikus. If you try to kill me, Attikus will kill you and everyone else on the ship.
Okie dokie.
With pleasure.
Fair enough. Gentlemen, you've made an excellent point. I'm happy to enter myself into your employ. Honestly, if I hang on, and he spits on his thumb and just rubs it across his goggles. He said, "Oh, I just had some gunk on my goggles. That's on me. You're obviously the people I flew here with, and obviously the people I'll be flying out with. Now, I know you already know my name because you hired me, all the way back then. But name's Grimly Moody. Grim to my friends, and honestly, welcome back aboard your ship, sir." And he just kind of scratches his head with the top of the bottle, and he points at you and says, "It's funny, when I thought, I had to rub the gunk off my goggles, but it's funny. I think I got some in my brain too, because you're clearly the same guy,
But I'm wondering if the same guy would want the same name for the ship, or if he, if maybe I got confused about what this fucking thing's called. So what's the name of our boat there, Lord Inquisitor?
Well, this ship would be known as... Marni's Song. Let's be tied together. A couple of friends lost along the way. It'll have lyrics, it'll have an alto, and it'll be at Marni at its heart.
Yeah, all right. Well, that works for me, of course. It's you have to forgive me. I think I have a typo in here that I'll just have to correct, but that's easy enough to do. Well, welcome aboard, sir. I hope everything's to your liking, Mr. Vis. Of course, it's good to see you again. Trust me, I'm not going to do anything worth punching me over, but it's good to know that's an option, right? Well, welcome aboard,
Grim. And he'll give him like a big wink, like his friends call him Grim.
Yeah, and it says, "Oh, all right. Honestly, I like you guys the same as I liked you before, maybe even more.
Perfect.
Definitely a bit more."
The one thing I will tell you is, if you're good to us, we will be incredibly good to you.
Great. Yeah. No, of course. And you have been to this point. I'm sure you'll honor the terms of our contract, which I'll send along for you to review. I'll get one of the bots to drop it off. Listen, Lord Inquisitor, I don't mean to step out of school here, but with all due respect, you kind of look like you got chewed up in a power claw and spat out the other side there. The droids probably gave you one of the cocktails on the way in, but we got a fully stocked med bay, as you'll remember, of course, from our previous escapades. But make sure to go back there and get patched up when you're ready, eh?
Wonderful. I'll patch my data slate into the system and get them to fix me up while I do some light reading. I might suggest sending us towards this systems Mandeville point. I don't think we're going to be tremendously welcome here in the coming minutes.
Yeah, that's fair. You said that before you left, too. So this is a real easy one for me. I already got the coordinates punched in, just like you asked. All right, well, you guys go strap in, make yourselves at home in your homes, and I'll... He takes a long bottle ending swig of the AMSEC and just kind of places it next to 3 other empty bottles on the dash, and he says, I'll get us out of here.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And then I think Valentyne, because he does not have the ability to be crafty any further, having made clumsy threats and a weird promise, information and a hospital sound great.
Great. So with that, you leave Grimly Moody and the astropaths to plotting a course off planet. And I'm sorry, you're heading to Billingberg's quarters? Or the
unless there's some way to access Billingberg's data set that he'd have in his quarters on his slate, which he probably has to do from that room. So
yeah, I mean, realistically, you're taking off, we're moving off planet, so you can do these things in turn. Attikus, what would you be doing aboard the Marni Song?
He's going to sit right down in that co-pilot seat and get uncomfortably close to the pilot and make sure he doesn't do anything to double cross us.
Good man. So Grim seems to be on it. It's old hat. It's a lot of that Han Solo flying where it's just flicking switches kind of absently. But when he realizes you're not going away and that you're kind of uncomfortably close, he says, you ever fly before?
I've not done the flying myself, no. Well, I was brought from, one planet to another a couple times. Spent a lot of time here on Vicodin. Happy to see some new sights.
Yeah, great. I mean, we weren't here long, but this planet kind of sucks. I got to tell you, their booze is garbage. But all right, well, I'll tell you what. Once we get up there, I'll hand the stick over to you. You want to take the helm for a little bit? You can. Let's get out there. Let's go see the verse, shall we?
That sounds great, Grim. Why don't you do the driving? And I'll sit right here.
And he swallows hard and says, more the merrier.
Yeah.
And he just keeps darting glances at your power fist.
Yeah. I'll put my feet up on the dash, just as he's getting ready to take it out, and be just weird innocuous questions to make him uncomfortable.
Yeah.
We're ladies' men.
Sorry?
Are you a ladies' man, Grim?
I mean, any port in a storm, my man. Ladies, dudes, servitors, occasionally, if they're programmed that way, you know.
Is that why these things are all fucked up? Oh, I see.
Oh,
I see.
no, that was our friend.
No, it's all right, Grim. It's all right. Your secret's safe with me.
And she just like, you watch the moment that the cool guy who's like, you know, the cool kid on the ship
ace
realizes someone cooler has just moved in, and it's like he just shrinks down a bit, like his spiked hair almost like wilts, and he's like, yeah, that's great, okay, taking us out. Meanwhile, as the ship takes off, Valentyne, you're taken to the med bay. You get kind of like the servitors there take a quick look at kind of like what they're dealing with, and kind of like put an impromptu cast on your leg. They obviously like cap off your arm for now, and basically the operation will happen soon. But I imagine you'd probably go look at the records before you get the full.
Yeah, he needs to know where they're headed next before he goes under for anything.
Yeah. So you make your way back out, and you see Attikus palling around with Moody up in the cockpit. You see the servitors going about their business. Honestly, it's kind of a relief to just be on a fully manned ship compared to like weird tourist vessels and other such things. Billingberg's quarters are very Spartan. There's room for his sword, for his cloak, but a couple of texts. But you can tell that his paranoia expanded beyond just rewiring the servitors to keeping no records of, the conspiracy in easy to find places. That said, he also clearly did not intend to be boarded, and this seemed to be a brief, like they were up at the orbital station, came down, and he was planning to leave soon. So getting into his server is not hard. He clearly kind of expected he would be the only one here. As your data slate continues to work, a world opens up to you, Valentyne. It would seem that Billingberg, knowing the width and breadth of the Confederacy and what they were attempting, and the lengths to which they would need to go in order to properly mount an assault on Terra, has a number of operations in the works, a number of agents throughout the galaxy. And a quick glance suggests that not unlike what you've been doing, he clearly has been using the inquisitorial authority of the station and the power of the Rosette to lay the groundwork for a number of different contingencies and operations throughout the galaxy. That said, you're immediately struck by a rather concerning message that's waiting for him. It would seem that in the time between the murder of Vicodin and the murder of Billingberg by Attikus, he both sent and received a message. The coding isn't hard for Eugene to crack when he's going to work on it. And you see the words, Vicodin is out. May all the gods help us. Contact Fabius Bile. We require the new men. Along with coordinates pretty much on the other side of the galaxy. Next to those coordinates is an open file. A file containing names, professions, contacts. It would seem Billingberg has sleeper cells throughout the galaxy. Now, a small grin begins to spread across your face, because the beautiful thing about a paranoid inquisitor is the odds that all of these cells have no idea who they're working for or who they're getting orders from are very high. And with Eldar, Orc, and a Space Marine now on the list of Confederates, chances are you're not going to be able to attend to all of these things personally. But you've got astropaths, you've got warp capability, and you now have a galaxy full of agents, some useful, some useless, at your disposal. In the immediate sense, Billingberg would no doubt have a base. And if you have access to his ship, odds are you can get access to his base. It is some distance from here. You get the reports from the astropaths, from Moody. There is going to be some travel time involved, which kind of sucks. But again, with your now deep space transmission capability, you won't be cut off. It won't be like traveling out of system previously for you. So you've got some time on your hands. And more importantly, you now have cat's paws essentially across the galaxy that you can activate if you so desire. What do you do?
Well, I desire. So the first answer would be some research into exactly what the fuck is going on with Bile, the sister that's being sent to, all that kind of things. And then I think he'd probably look for the closest solid asset. I don't think he wants to send like the chaff after this, because if it's that far away, he's never going to get there himself. So he needs kind of like a stronger strike team in that area to just send. And like with all the code he's got, it's just like new men, new man, ? Bile ? And then just like stop them. It's kind of like the full spread of what he has, probably including some sort of statement about it being to protect the Emperor, to give them like an idea of stakes, and then he probably just fire that off to that team.
I think in your research, it would seem that with the loss of Vicodin's resources and with the loss of his like vast array of resources, that the ability to hire mercs has disappeared. So the records do seem to indicate, and again, it's all very coded, but that there was the potential to involve Fabius Bile, the agent of chaos, in the Confederacy, and it was voted down. Again, you're just piecing this together from what you've got, but there was a lot of like, do we really want this guy on the team? He's a loose cannon. We'd rather take new money, controllable idiot Vicodin. You realize Vicodin was like definitely the bottom man on the ladder. But yes, there's only indication of one new man, which admittedly is very concerning in a lot. But basically kind of like Bile has promised us that he can provide ... May we hope he provides. So it could be one, could be several, you're not sure, but like it seems to indicate like there's a guy somewhere. So I think it's safe to say that you can direct the hit squad to that.
Yeah, I think he'd send the hit squad and then be like further updates to come kind of thing. You know, just hit that like, I'll send you more when I've got it, but get fucking moving. hit the gas and load the fucking guns.
And I think having sent that, there are a number of other sort of leads throughout the galaxy that can be followed up on. So you begin to send out more messages as the days go on. What do you get? I imagine robotic hand.
Yeah, I doubt they'd have a cloning facility on here, so it'd just be like what they got works.
Sure. Yeah. So you've got kind of like it's very much like a Luke Skywalker without his glove on hand, where it's just like the metallic fingers under a heavy glove. They're able to repair your leg. It'll always ache a bit in intemperate weather, but generally speaking, it's serviceable. Attikus, you make buds with all of the astropaths. You basically become like the king of the bridge as time goes on. Moody is a very capable pilot, but clearly everyone has kind of his shtick has run dry because it's very performative and very like, haha, look how great I am. Whereas Attikus just is. So everyone on board is just kind of like, this guy gets it. Like, this is nice. So you feel quite at home. And more importantly for you, Attikus, everyone on this ship just does their fucking job to the nth degree. It is a well-oiled machine. Everyone is doing their job. You settle back into your chair, I think, knowing some loss. The loss of Marni, obviously a large one. You are unsure what the fate of the planet will be. You know there were good people down there as well. But from the sounds of what Valentyne was saying, odds are not a full purge, just like a most purge. So there's some chance that the good will survive, but none of that matters if the Emperor dies. So you're on your way with your holy mission.
Yeah, he'll take out a postcard that he stole. He just nabbed from the gift shop, and he'll look at it and kind of think about Marni, and then he'll feel some solace in like good people and bad people all die for the Emperor.
Fair enough. And I think you just wedge it into like the edge of the viewport. So It's just there as a memento. As you begin to make your way to Billingberg's base and to kind of a base of operations for you, perhaps more answers about the Confederacy, slowly but surely, Valentyne, your orders and your message begins to spread. And with it spreads the Valentyne Heresy, as one by one, systems, people, and agents become infected by the word of the most cheerful heretic to walk the galaxy. And one in particular hears the word, following a small blinking tracking beacon that Inquisitor has yet to discover in his pocket. Alto's glowing red eyes stare up as the small ship burns away, and a grin spreads across the grim face of Haldren Blackhand, who lowers the hand he installed the head into and looks at it. He says, "Well, new friends, I think we know where he's going next. Let's make sure we go greet him, shall we?" And the snarling, ravenous lyric chained to his leg merely howls with the rage of a chaos monster. Haldren smiles, steps into the modified red orc ship, pushes the dead pilot aside, cracks his knuckles, says, "Let's go find our friends."
This episode of the Valentyne Heresy features Ryan LaPlante at the Ryan LaPlante on Twitter as Inquisitor Lucius Valentyne, Tyler Hewitt at Tyler_Hewitt on Twitter as Attikus Vis, Laura Elizabeth at EL Hamstring on Twitter as Marni Schwartzenberger, and our Game Master Tom McGee at McGeeTD on Twitter. This episode's sound was edited and mixed by Laura Hamstra, and the Valentyne Heresy's show logo was created by Decapitated Markers at Decapitated Marker on Twitter. That's MRKR. Our theme song is The Hordes by Megan McDuffie, and our ads use the tracks No Control and Chiefs by Jazzar, JAHZZAR, provided by freemusicarchive.org. When it comes to Dum Dums and Dice, you can visit our website at dumdumdice.com. Our Twitter and Instagram are at dumdumdice, and on Facebook at facebook.com/dumdumdice. We have merchandise available at redbubble.com/people/dumdumdice, and most importantly, you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/dumdumdice. That's DUMBDICE. Ave Imperator, and death to all the heretics. Dum Dums and Dice has to give a special thank you to the supreme beings of our Patreon at this time: Christian Menicola, Long, the Half-Blind Prophet, James Cuellar, Charles Grams, Christopher Little, Sue One, George Dolby, One True Artistry, Orion Birchfield, Lord of Bradovic, Noel Lewis, Scott Garland, Anthony Griffin, Chet Awesome Laser, Jordan Neesmith, Benjamin V, Gavin and Abby McDonald, Taryn Hefner, Cade Peters, Richard Cranium, Christian Mendez, Anna Zed, Eric Williams, Logan, Fire Unfriendly, Great Dane, Acrix, and Jill and Noel LaPlante. If you want your name to be added to this list, you can join our Patreon too at patreon.com/dumdumdice. Thanks to them, and a little bit of thanks to you.